We must forget that the auto sector, and I'm saying you can't say when you are faced with that, Trump, lady said there's a new president in America. Economy in the world that is going to impose global the current capacity. We're going to move in silos in tackling the challenge. Before we know it, there will be nothing. I don't have a mandate on the increase for workers on the basis of a mandate and accountability. That norms a strike every year and ESCOM, but suddenly there will be a strike. Let's go for a 3-year agreement. Initially on, we said NUMSA and ESCOM. I think if we increase that is equitable for the is pushing, but what I did not tell you, I don't agree with them. And on IPPs that are basically argument we're making for diesel is the same argument we're making, but you will find it in our submission.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mkiza, do you still have a question?
No, I'm kind of covered because from my side, Mr. Chim, I was just looking at you. Areas of intervention that you expect. I think that would.
You can submit that in the next 7 days if there is. But shall we just? We just need to take a break, 5 minutes break, so that we can shift here.
present.
All right. All right. Hello. May we please take our seats? We apologize for the slight delay, but we would like to proceed with the program. The small change in the program is that the Democratic Alliance has requested to make its presentation tomorrow. So we are removing the Democratic Alliance on today's slot. And then we now proceed to take the presentation from the member of the public, Ricardo Machado. Do we have Ricardo? Do we have Ricardo here? NERSA staff, may you please assist in making sure that we do have the presenters ready to take up their slots. Shall we then go to MYPD6, member of the public? All right. May you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly declare that the evidence you are going to provide to this panel is the truth and the whole truth?
I declare.
Thank you. May you please state your name and maybe the community that you're coming from?
Thank you very much, Chair Lady and the panel. I am MYPD6, the Ward Councillor of Ward 39. This is where we are, from the city of Johannesburg.
Okay. Thank you very much. May I proceed?
Let me start by greeting everyone who's here and even the previous speakers, and also welcome the presentation by ESCOM. Today I'm standing here representing the community of Orlando West, Soweto, and the city of Johannesburg. It is for this reason that I'm brave enough to come here and stand and say to the public and those who are lay people who do not understand, who will not even prepare presentations to come and make them here. I'm talking about a community that is mostly vulnerable, a community that is mostly even out of work situation. I'm talking about a community that is not economically included, and today it is affected by the application. This application tends to be one of the contributing factors that will lead also to the further of our people being I wanted to say people who will still suffer from the ravages of economy. And as a country, we are a recovering economy and we are still a development country. But however, we are suffering from unemployment. My casing point today, it will be more of the senior citizens of this country, of Orlando West, senior citizens who cannot even afford the tariffs of today, the tariffs that we are even faced with. But going forward and going into the future, we will still see what is going to happen in terms of this increment. It will also make further contributions towards our family disunity, because we are an old township that is still suffering from its own history. So we are submitting today to say if maybe NERSA can come into be the bigger big brother, let NERSA be the big brother to the poor community and working class that cannot even afford a bread line. So we are saying, out of this poverty that we are faced, we are appealing to NERSA and say we reject the increment of this application so that we can have our people be able to participate in the economy freely without even being scared of going to be more put under poverty line. So as a ward councillor, and maybe some of my colleagues that I see here, I'm submitting this my submission today simply because of the poor working class that we are leading in the communities. So I say thank you for the opportunity, and you are welcomed in Ward 39, the ward of Tor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for welcoming us in your ward. We appreciate that. Thank you so much for representing your community as well. Thank you. All right, we now move on to the next presentation, and that is Spiwe Sibeku is a member of the public.
Good afternoon, Sanboran. Ngizawukhuluma mina.
Kukwazi ukukhuluma kaloku before ufungise kuqala. May you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly declare that the evidence you're going to provide is the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, please state your full name and the community you're coming from.
Ngusphiwe Isibongo Sibeko, umhlali wakhona la eWard 39.
Okay, all right. Please start with your presentation.
Ngiyabonga ithuba enginikezwe lona, ngibingelele nonke. Ukufika kwami ekseni ngifike ngithukuthele kakhulu. Ngizitshela ukuthi iEscom usebenzisana nani, but ngithema ngithola ukuthi uyabahlasela ngama question neteam yakho yashintsha attitude yami, ngabona ukuthi abahambi bonke labantu angithi izinto esizibonela lokushini bese siya conclude thina elokushini ukuthi awu NERSA kenzi next usono Escom, mara the way beniphoza ama question ngakhona bengihappy, the way beniphoza ngakhona kuye kwasuka lento benginayo enegative ngani. Sibonga inkinga enginayo uEscom ugangile uEscom akasiboni. uEscom uyasidivide uEscom engifuna ukwazi ukuthi uma kune project ake ngenza umzekelo sikune izindlu ezi1000 eOrlando West, kungani angabudget for lezo zindlu ezi1000 aconvert a few ayekela abanye? Why asiphendula iAnimal Farm State uEscom? Mangabe ibudget ingekho akangayenzi that project ngoba uyasixabanisa, siconvertiwe thina siyabhadala. So khona bangaka convert, khona bangakanikezwa ngisho igubhu, ushuthi akawaqedi nje ama project uzoshena ukuthi imali of yini angeke ngimkhulumele, but lokho akukuhle kuyasiphatha siwumphakathi. So even na ku City of Joburg mawuzokhuluma ngento yamanzi nabo same thing, angeke nje benze baqede basiphatha. Lento divide and rule asithandi, iyasixabanisa sisodwa. Yeah. Kulento le ama cable theft ne infrastructure uyilwa kanjani uEscom leyo nto leyo? Ngabe le mali ecelwayo icover lezo zinto, kungani angasebenzisani necommunity? Kunama CPF noma ngeke wabhadala awathengele le igipa lezi ama reflector 10 rand ubathengela ama two-way radio bayagada istructure sakho. Why angasebenzisani nepublic? Ngoba kwezinye indawo akhona ama CPF nala akhona ama CPF, mara ngenxa yokuthi abukho lobudlelwane between thina community no Escom sivuka kutshontshiwe, and leyo nto leyo iba costly futhi ku Escom. So sicela uEscom asebenzisane nathi sizokwazi ukuthi sibambisane ukuya forward. Ekseni uthema ubuza ubaba uKhasim laphiyana kwaba nembuzo kwaba nama answers angakhona ukwaphendula ku referral ukuthi haya kubona ugovernment. Ngase ngiyadideka ngithamo sinaba ku government so icompany len manje makathi neku government mangabe nisa nizocela imali kube nezinto ezinye enihlule kuzi-ansarisha mabanganikezwa leyo mali ngoba kumele bathebulate basho ukuthi sifuna imali siyifunela lokhu nalokhu 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 so kokunye bahlulekile ukuthi banitshele konke ukuthi bayifunelani leyo mali ayineke nibambe until bahambe babuye nama-answers on-satisfy okunye kunenkinga ngako nge-Eskom u-Eskom wenza izinto kube ngazi ukuthi thina siyarebhela sifuna ukukhokha yazi uma ngabe uhola u100 hlala nomntwana uma unomntwana olokadimanda baba ngifuna ngifuna lihlala naye phansi umbonise ukuthi mntanami ngihola u100 lo wenza la umntwana angaphinda acela Eskom is failing to do that u-Eskom if bekahlala nathi community eze asindlalele ukuthi kunje I doubt ukuthi ngabe sila esikhona naye mara ke okuhle nakumele kunconywe okuvela kwa-Eskom u-Eskom ngiyamncoma ngalento ye-conversion from KR1 to KR2 hayi nami bengivakashile laphiyana bangitshela ukuthi ngibhadale loyo ngibhadala ngiyakhommithile this month na next month sokunjalo ngiyaqhubeka ngaleyo nto leyo so ababe nendlela nabo yokuthi bakholeka kanjani imali uyayithola njalo bangezi nje sebezeolwa nomphakathi ngoba masebenza abalwa nomphakathi leyo nto leyo iyaxabanisa bangabantu bethu after all mabasema office basahlala nathi labantu babuya bahlale nathi abeze bakhulume nathi sizwane siyazi ukuthi kungakhokha kuyona into enhle kumele sikhokheni but akube nendlela nje amicable nje esohlangabezana ngayo ngiyabonga thank you
Ngiyabonga nathi baba sibonga kakhulu bazwile no Eskom I'm sure. All right, thank you very much. We now taking another presentation. This time it comes from the SACP, South African Communist Party. We have the name of Mxolisi Mhluli. Okay, may you please raise your right hand? Yeah.
Chair, can I request to use my left chair? It's a request.
Yiva ke manje nikhuluma isintu manje ne ukuba nifuna ukukhuluma isingisi ndicela ukuthi kahle singamoshi isikhathi uphakamise isandla sikhuluma ukuthi ngopho right notheni sithi manje isandla sasekunene manje ngikhuluma ngesizulu ke manje angisakhuluma isingisi manje sothi low right okanye wrong ndikhuluma ngesizulu ngicela ulayite lapha umboko lo ulayite umboko okay all right
no thanks Chair.
ngicela uphakamise isandla sasekunene uyafunga ukuthi lokhu ubufakazi obosakukhuluma phambi kwale panel buza kube ubufakazi ubuyiqiniso noma cha
Ngiyavuma sihlalo ukuthi lokho engizokukhuluma la kuyiqiniso kumuntu omsebenzi nohlupheka eSouth Africa.
Yebo icela usiphe igama lakho nesikhundla sakho siphetheyo lapha kumakomanisi.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo. My name is Mxolisi Mhluli and I'm a member of the District Executive Committee of the Communist Party in Johannesburg.
Ngicela uqale ke ngepresentation yakho.
No, Chairperson, I will not be long, Chair, because I think some of the points that we wanted to make have already been made. So we'll just have to rush through and noting the time as well, Chair. So as the Communist Party in Linda Chavane District, which is Johannesburg, we note that the South African Constitution does not explicitly designate electricity as a basic human right. However, certain laws infer that it is. As an example, the Electricity Regulation Act seeks to, I quote, facilitate the universal access to electricity, and unless universal means only those that have money, we can deduce that this legislation envisages access to electricity for all, including those that are too poor to afford it. Significantly, most rights that are inscribed in the Bill of Rights are dependent on access to electricity. As an example, Section 11 enshrines the right to life. This right is violated when Tate Khomo cannot access electricity on account of not having money, thus compromising his insulin medication. Now, who would be held accountable for his death? Would it be ESCOM? Would it be NERS? Would it be God? Or do we leave it at that, just that because he is from a poor and a working class background? NERSA's objective to promote, I quote, affordable and accessible energy cannot be achieved unless there is a shift in how we view electricity. If electricity remains a commodity that can be used for profit maximization by the capitalist class, as an example through the introduction of independent power producers, then NERSA would have failed dismally in the execution of its mandate. It is important to remember that as things stand, unemployment in the country stands at 32.9%, and this does not include discouraged workers, but also more than 55% of workers in the country earn peanuts, whilst ESCOM's bloated management structure continues to put a strain on its financial position. This effectively means that the majority of this country cannot afford electricity based on their needs. I will refer you to a recent interview on SABC chairperson, where an old lady explicitly stated the reason why the majority in working class and poor communities tampered with prepaid meters. They are unaffordable to the working class in this country. Therefore, as the Communist Party, we argue that it is in the immediate interest of the country and its majority for NERSA to firstly reject the proposed tariff increment by ESCOM and instead institute a 0% increment, particularly for household electricity. But secondly, we call for the scrapping of the unstated principle of pay-as-you-use for household electricity and for its replacement with a principle that says that you must pay as you need for electricity. Therefore, you know, our people, so but a flat rate, flat rate local. We are aware that there will be objections to the adoption of this principle on account of economic laws. But we put it clearly, Chair, that economic laws are usually laws of a particular economic and social system. In this instance, the capitalist system. After 30 years of democracy, it has become clear that this democracy is a democracy for a minority. That is, a democracy for the capitalist class. As an example, the overwhelming majority in South Africa will reject the tariff increments, and yet in the end, tariff increments will be implemented even if they may not be in line with ESCOM's requested tariff increments. This will prove that in South Africa, we are living under the dictatorship of the rich, and therefore NERSA has a moral obligation to ensure that this naked and blatant bias against the majority is ended. We are likely to be asked, Chair, how are the inflationary costs to be recovered? In the immediate, ESCOM must firstly reduce its bloated management structure, Chair. It's wasting a lot of money. It's bloated, ESCOM management, it's bloated. So they must reduce that management structure. But also, they must try and speedily recover the debts from big business that the big businesses are owing to ESCOM. On our side as the Communist Party, we will continue playing a leading role in encouraging working class and poor communities in Johannesburg to pay an amount of 350. I think Ubaba Mtshalo of ESCOM can attest to the role that we have played, because we are also concerned about the state of ESCOM, the fact that it is not generating enough resources. So we will continue playing that role, working together with yourselves, Babu Mtshali and ESCOM, and together with yourselves, Slal. But for the long term, it is clear that the electricity crisis, amongst many other social problems in South Africa, can only be resolved through a political solution. Workers and the poor of South Africa are the only ones who can provide that solution. This solution lies in the change of the economic and social system, which will give us new economic laws. As I conclude, Chair, allow me on behalf of the people of the community of Deep Kloof, Chair, because they specifically mandated me on this one, Chair. That's where I come from. Allow me to extend an invite to yourselves as NERSA and ESCOM to a community meeting, which we will formally forward the relevant invite to yourselves, Chair, to a community meeting where we can actually start to discuss the question of a flat rate, which the majority of the people in Soweto and Johannesburg have been calling for, but also to assist us in the establishment of electricity forums in our communities, so that the work of engaging with ESCOM becomes easier in our communities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for the proposals. ESCOM is here, and they hear the invite, so they must not be scared. You're going to be responsible there as the SACP inviting ESCOM. NERSA is always willing, and there are two ladies at the back, Amanda and Vuyelwa, that are going to lead the delegation from NERSA in terms of the engagements and the meeting that you are inviting NERSA to. ESCOM as well, you are invited to attend that meeting. Just one question. All of these communities, they are going to pay the electricity rates. Akunanto in the illegal connections if now there's a flat rate. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, Chair.
And also ESCOM to always keep engaging the communities.
Yes, through these forums.
Exactly, and then establish the forums and so that they can get some feedbacks.
Absolutely,
And
Chair.
then they will get a lot of people now that will start, complying, because if you involve the community, you don't need to always be there yourself, but people are there, will work with you so that you don't need to struggle, and connect those that are not connected and be able to improve on the recovery. Thank you very much, Put.
Just one explanation, Chair. We'll request that the meeting not be facilitated by the Communist Party, but by the community, because you may create a situation where certain individuals...
Hayi, asingeni apho.
Oh,
What I'm
no,
saying,
thanks, Chair.
wena sukubeka ukuthi wena iNERSA mayifika baza contacta wena no ESCOM baphatheke kakhulu ESCOM mafike laphi. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. We now move on to the next presentation from the member of the public. We've got the name of Constance Mnguni. Constance Mnguni.
Sanibonani zinkokheli.
Sawubona ma.
Sanibonani Mzansi.
Kodwa mama funeke qala funge qala phambi koba thethe kulomboko.
No problem.
Nkosi ma. Mama, do you solemnly declare that the evidence you're going to give to the panel is the truth and the whole truth?
Injalo ma.
Okay. Ngicela umama siphe igama lakhe elipheleleyo ne community umphakathi aphuma ku.
Igama lami nguConstance Mnguni. Ngingowala eWard 39. I'm a leader. I'm a community rep, if I may put it. And I'm involved with the government as need. I even sitting in the office of the status of women. I'm an NGO and working for another NGO. Tanami into mnandi ukuthi abantu base Soweto, it's back to basis, baqalele ukuhlupheka futhi. Although kuqale khona ukuthi mazinto zenzeka zaqale Soweto, kodwa manje we are the poor of the poorest. One, uEscom noNERSA mabazi ukuthi kunezindlu la ezingama child-headed household, kunama pensioner, kunabantu abahluphekayo, abanqwembu kakhulu. Labo bantu from the poor of the poorest, kunama pensioner. Mtaka mama, there's nothing for us without us. Let us be involved in everything. Ngoba information ayifiki ngokufana. Mhleli kwami ngiyipensioner, ama-ward committee mawathathe an extra mile. Eze gogo azotshela gogo nayi manje into esethi take place. uEscom njengoba sisho ukuthi makazame manje ukuthi bona baxoxisane, and ngisacela ukuthi nazi ukuthi president ngisafuna ukuhlangana naye. Yes, sike siqoqe impela ukuthi ngo94 kwakumele ukuthi each and every people abase parliament, all the members of parliament, they were supposed to open up a trust fund for their constituencies. Ngoba manje ngaba yikho yonke lento. Ayiqalele manje ke baxoxeke no president ukuthi thina ke umphakathi sithi sicela I trust fund. Then thina ke umphakathi sizawu-add kulo trust fund. Members of parliament, take charge. Numsa siyabonga ngoba umele umphakathi ene ungathi ungawumela njalo abazi abantu ukuthi kunala iqhamuka khona la eSoweto everything started here but it seems as if now everything is going backward. Siyacela ke ma thina la eSoweto we are very polite when it comes to ukuzwisisa izinto ezifunekayo. We don't mind to participate but nabo mabasicabange. Thank you.
Siyabonga ma, sibonga kakhulu ma. Bawusule nomlayezo. At this point, I would like to invite Portia Mahange from Ward 21, Soweto. All right. Do you solemnly declare that the evidence you're going to provide to the panel is the truth and the whole truth?
I declare.
Thank you. May you please state your name and the community you are representing for the record?
Okay. My name is Portia Mahange. I am a concerned citizen, but also a resident of Ward 21, which is Muletsani Litladi. I'm going to be multilingual because we are a multilingual country, and more so we are in Soweto. Rabua, Rakuluma, Rakopanya. So I hope you will bear with me. The area I come from, Babua Sesotho le Sepedi, le Setswana haholo, but this is Zulu sitting. I'd like to thank NERSA for this opportunity of inviting the community. It's a small hall, given that Soweto has got officially 1.8 million people. I'm not sure if we were all invited, the majority of people would be able to fit in here. So I'm asking in the future, NERSA must have more meetings in Soweto, because Soweto is a country within a country. If you compare it to the population of Swaziland, Lesotho, and Botswana, you'll see that we are somewhere there in the spectrum. So we need to be taken seriously, especially because ESCOM services Soweto. We're not serviced by City Power, we're directly serviced by ESCOM. So ESCOM must be more involved. I did ask a question earlier on about centers in Soweto. Last week, when the deadline was looming, people had to rush to Midway, and yet Soweto. Why must we go to Midway? Midway, transport and everything else, even during any year, any day. When you have an issue of ESCOM, a particular community must go to Midway, not Orlando, but Midway, because Zola was closed. Now it's open, I'm not sure for how long. But we don't have enough centers to service the population of Soweto, and that must be addressed. Because those are the things that are creating animosity between us, and it becomes us and them. And I will share some of those things that have come up. But I'm grateful that NERSA is here. I hope the advertising will be better, because I got to find out from Ntate Sebeko, if it wasn't for him, I belong to community WhatsApp groups, but this information, I was waiting for it, listening to 702 last week when I heard that you were elsewhere. But I didn't get to hear about it until this morning on 702, but fortunately yesterday, hence I was here. Now, if we're talking about 1.8 million people, and we know the debt Soweto, and the challenges that ESCOM has, some are self-created, some really we need to take responsibility as citizens of Soweto. And we are not working together and engaging one another. We're just creating the division further. So, Kikopali communication from NERSA to come to us on time so that we can fill this hall and create a need to have other venues where we can have this. Soweto Theatre is one of those places. It has one of the biggest hall seating, if I can say so, from the places that I know in Soweto where we could have such, but we need to have them in places where people are, so people don't have to travel and take taxis. The other issue is that we're having this today. I think Bahola Grande today or something. I think yeah, it's a challenge. We need to also look at those things. Those are people who are homeowners who will be having issues to discuss with NERSA about their challenges, just like Mama was here saying, you know, we have child-headed household, we are grannies who are raising grandchildren and our kids are not working. They are not here because they have to go and collect that money for their kids and so on and so forth. So let's also look at timing of having these events. And maybe another avenue is to use the councillors' offices in the different wards. I mean, this information could have come from our councillor. I'm glad the councillor of this ward is here and is active, and he's here until the end. But we should be seeing even the councillors. Why are the councillors not here? Even if maybe we didn't come as citizens and ward residents, they could be taking back the message to the wards. But they're not here. I'm not sure why they don't know. Is there a break in communication? Maybe that should also be addressed. And then during the last break, I saw these booths and I was asking about that. I found out it's for translation, and I asked a gentleman at the back, are we going to have these recordings online so that people who are not here can then access what the community, their community, and what other presentations were about? And I'm told, no, this is for only the audience that is here so that they can understand the multilingualism. And I'm saying, but why? Why are we not having these things recorded for posterity and for also people who are not here who would want to know what the issues are and what solutions have been offered? And that is something I'm also challenging NERSA to make available. One of the questions, and I'm going to deal with two of the questions that I had asked earlier on, and I'm glad I was given an opportunity, because Nami, I was fuming. When I got here, I looked at the program and I thought, are we going to listen to all these organizations? Is this not a public engagement for the communities? And I saw these names of organizations. I'm grateful they were here, but I felt that the voice of the people who are staying here, who are the ones who are not paying or who are supposed to pay and approve those increases, are not on the list. And I made a scene. They will tell you that when I got here, I made a scene, and then I was given an opportunity to raise the questions. So I want to go back to two of those questions because I feel they were not properly explained, and maybe it's my handwriting. One of the issues that Kasim, I think Mr. Kasim responded to, and I got my numbers wrong. I stand to be corrected. I said 500 kWV or something. I don't know the terminology, but I think it's 50 kilowatt per hour. That is free basic. If I'm wrong with that, you'll correct me, but you know where I'm going with this. I'm saying that that amount, if it was determined 30 years ago, it needs to be reviewed by NERSA or by the government department that is giving that subsidy. Because if we look at our households in Soweto, in the townships, even in town, we're not looking at a family of 2 parents and 2 kids and a half, whatever that formula was in terms of, the international standards. We're not international like that. We've got big families, we've got child-headed household. Therefore, that 50 or whatever that amount is of free basic electricity, it must be taking the situation as it is and the level of our inequality. Inequality in this country has increased in a way that we are in a democracy, we should be better off, but we are worse off in terms of our Gini coefficient. And that has not been taken care of. In terms of the growth in the number of people in the households, Orlando, where you are, you'll see me cook at the Jarata. Then you understand her number to buy 10, 15, maybe in some yards. And yet, even the parking box, we are given so much per family. So people steal from each other's households, and we've had those challenges even in Ward 21, where maybe it's a to hook onto somebody else's electricity supply. Obviously they are stealing, but they're also causing a strain on the system, on the grid. So those things must be reviewed so that then there can be equitable supply of electricity, and we can then talk about equitable payment of electricity. The last point I want to raise, then the issue was of leakages. I would like to see ESCOM giving us statistics of where they are losing electricity. They know the electricity is leaving their grid, but it's not assigned to any customer, because those are inefficiencies that we shouldn't be paying for. I want ESCOM to give us statistics of people who should be paying electricity who are not, and tell us what they've done about that. I mean, in a normal business, you have a 30-day policy, a 60-day policy of recovering your debts. But if we're sitting with debts 6-10 years, and you're hoping to get that money, how realistic is that? And getting money from people, from households where it's pensioners who are not working, and you're saying you're going to get that. I would like to see ESCOM also giving us stats about prepaid customers who are bridging. Nako kaya hara bridger. The last time I was in a meeting in Kontokozweni, which is where I come from, somebody called ESCOM who was from Midway said, if we come in an area, we find majority bridges, we cut you all off. And I asked the question, but ko kaya hara bridger, so why must I be cut off? It's not fair. I am a customer ESCOM, a group customer with my neighbors. If they choose to do what they want to do, I'm not responsible for that. I shouldn't be cut off because somebody else is choosing to do something illegal in my community, and that is not right. My meter, it address a block meter as in we are a community. So that should also be addressed. Last point is on the issue of antagonization that comes from ESCOM. In 2022, in Ward 21, we had what Mr. Sibeko was saying, was explaining about division. ESCOM, through our councillor, they decided they are going to put in prepaid meters, but not for the entire area. Part of Kladi, part of Mulezane, then other parts were not put on prepaid. They were only put on prepaid much later. But in that process, we were bullied. For 6 weeks, ESCOM switched us off because they wanted us to be on prepaid. After 6 weeks, we had to sign a petition that they told us we must do. There was no engagement, and that is a failure on our government. When we ask for engagement, they want to be hostile with us. You can't say we've already decided on a prepaid meter system and you call that engagement. You come and discuss it with Bato, why this prepaid and why this particular one, because we also got to understand there are different types of prepaid system. There's an expensive one and there's cheap one. Then there was also a suspicion the approved vendors were people who were selected. He was part of that. When we were meeting Go Sports Center, there was confusion about this party and that party. So, in conclusion, thank you for having us, but do engage us. Don't come and inform us. Engage us always.
Thank you very much. We are here to consult and engage with you, but as a customer, you need to engage with ESCOM from our side. We have to look at the application and adjudicate as well. So, but there will be NESA staff that also works closely with the communities. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this public hearing. I would like to thank all the presenters that honored their presentation slots today and provided the necessary clarification that was sought. Thank the organizers of this venue, the logistics, from NERSA staff, and also the management of this hall. Thank everybody for making this to proceed smoothly, including the interpreters as well as sign language. I would like to thank the members of the energy regulator for assisting in these public hearings. We are now going to proceed with the public hearings in Galaga Estate tomorrow as part of the Gauteng engagements for this application. And then from Gauteng, we are moving to KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. The hearings there will be held on the 6th, which is Friday, as well as the 7th, which is on a Saturday. So we will then conclude in Durban with the public hearings. If you wish to follow the discussions and the issues that you may have raised, please tune into our Facebook platform, NERSA's Facebook account. You will be able to follow the discussions. Also, you may tune into NERSA's Twitter account, which is X now, you will also be able to catch up even on presentations that you may not have seen, as well as the responses that NERSA and other stakeholders provided to NERSA as part of our consideration of this application. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Safe travel back home.